This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie T? Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 5 in the National Football League. Big showdown, probably the biggest and most anticipated matchup of week number 5. The 3-1 Atlanta Falcons, leaders of the NFC South Division, with a commanding 2-game lead over everyone else in the division, taking on the undefeated 4-0 Super Bowl defending champion Denver Broncos. This was a big time matchup, and this was going to tell us a lot about, not necessarily about Denver. Okay, you got a backup quarterback, a rookie at that starting. We know what this defense is. Okay, it wasn't going to tell us too much about Denver. We know who they are. They are who we thought they are or were in terms of where they are now. I think a lot of us thought going into the season, Denver was going to regress, take a step back. And then after seeing the way that the quarterback position was handled and Trevor Siemian playing the way that he has before the injury, this defense is what we thought they were. So this wasn't going to tell us a lot about Denver. This was more about Atlanta. Are you for real? Are you serious? What's this 3-1 start really mean? Time to find out about these Falcons on the road, taking on a tough and undefeated opponent in the Denver Broncos. We'll talk about what the Falcons were able to accomplish in this game and what this win that the Falcons were able to get means. Talking about that a little bit later on. But before we get to any of that, first and foremost, welcome. If this is your first time here on the Louie Tee Network, welcome, and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. Also, I'm on Twitter. You on Twitter too? That's what's up. So follow me on Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. And if you happen to be watching this while you're on Twitter, don't be afraid to let your voice be heard. Use the hashtag LouieTeeLive to be a part of the discussion at the end of the program. Also, if you're watching and you happen to be on the YouTube live discussion chat, use the hashtag LouieTeeLive to converse again at the end of the show. I will come back and we will address all comments that have been addressed to me. And saying that, also I'm on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. So if you got a Facebook page, hell, give me that thumbs up then. Like the page, like my Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube. Now that that has been taken care of, let's talk about this game and how the Atlanta Falcons went into Denver and slayed the bully 23-16. We start with our likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipes breakdown with the likes in the first half from the road team, that being the Atlanta Falcons. So let's talk about the first half likes in this game. The opening drive for the Falcons was a no-nonsense message sent out to the Denver Broncos. We're not here to come over here and pussyfoot around. We're not looking to compete. We're looking to win, okay? That was the statement. And I think the biggest statement that was made in this ball game was the 4th and goal from the 1. Look, if you think you're going to come in here and win, then you go for it on 4th down. If you're looking to be competitive, you want to be a little soft, we'll just take it easy. We'll take the little conservative approach. We'll kick the field goal from the 1. Go right ahead. But look, scared money don't make money. And the mindset had to be coming into this game, we got to take it to these boys. And if we get a chance to go for it on 4th down, we're not going to be scared, man. We're going to roll the dice and hope it comes up nice, and it did. Go for it on 4th and win. Hell of a stop, first and foremost, by the Denver Broncos defense for even putting the Falcons in a tough spot to have to make a TD, which is a tough decision. And they made that decision, and they said, we're going for it, man. ain't no punks over here. We going for it. And they got in. 1-yard touchdown plunge from D. Free. D. Free! into the end zone, 7-0. I thought that was a turning point in this game. They weren't looking for a tie. They were looking for a touchdown. They weren't looking for a conservative approach. They were looking to come in and be aggressive. And that's how you beat. A wise man once told me, you don't walk up to Goliath and slap him in the face. You punch him in the face. And that's what they did in this game. They got out to a 10-0 start. And I thought that was big for them. Would have loved to have seen them get in the end zone yet again on that second drive, but you take the field goal, go up 2 scores. Again, the key, and I said this before going into the game, I talked about this on the Louie Tee live program on Wednesday. I said, look, if you want to beat the Broncos, and at the time we didn't know if Paxton Lynch or Trevor Siemian was going to play, but the key was get up on the Broncos, especially if Paxton Lynch is playing. Don't let them do what they did to Tampa, which was get on top early. And now that Paxton Lynch is in the game, he's got a little bit of a lead, so he doesn't have to do anything special. He can just kind of manage the game, and the defense can kind of allow him to coast. No, don't allow them to coast. Go in there, take it to them early, jump out to a lead, and make them play catch up. The Broncos don't do that very well. They're a front-running team. They play defense. They get out to early leads, and they make the other team have to catch up, and that's when they can turn that defense loose. Well, the Falcons flipped the script. They got out to the quick, fast start, and they made the Broncos have to play from the rear, and they weren't comfortable in that position. Another 4th down conversion, 4th and inches this time. I love the aggressive approach, and this was one of those situations where the Falcons said, look, man, we're trying to win. Much like Mike Tomlin, when they ask about all these 4th down attempts, they ask Mike Tomlin all the time, what was your thought process behind going forward at 4th and 1? And Mike Tomlin's response is priceless every time, and it's the same every time. I'm trying to win football games. And the Falcons simply were trying to win this football game. So they convert on the 4th and inches, and that turns into a field goal. So, again, the Falcons came out aggressive, and it paid big dividends for them in this football game. Vic Beasley, who knew? We've been waiting and waiting and waiting for Vic Beasley to show up. Welcome to the party, young fella, man. What the hell has gotten into you? Maybe, just maybe, and this is just a thought, maybe Dwight Freeney is rubbing off on this dude. Did you see Vic Beasley turning back the clock? He looked like he was at Clemson again, man. We got to get him a better number, too. 44 is horrible. We got to get him a better number, but that's besides the point. Vic Beasley got 3.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. What the hell has gotten into you? God, I was so proud of him, man. I felt like a papa, a proud papa whose only son finally made it, man. Looking at Vic, I said, man, he's turning the corner. He's explosive. He's looking for the football. I didn't know if that was the Denver offensive tackle, if that was just Vic Beasley finally having the light bulb come on. I'm not sure, but damn it, I liked it. I want to see it more often. Love it, want more of it. Can we get that, Vic? Can that be the norm now? Or are you going to go back into your shell? I'm anxious. I want to see him do that. Seattle's offensive line stinks. Do it again. Do it again. Let's go to the Denver Broncos first half likes. Paxton Lynch's legs. Look, he's not ready for the show yet. We saw that in this game. Thought he was okay versus Tampa. He wasn't okay in this game. He wasn't ready for the show. That being said, moving forward, his legs are going to be a problem for opposing defenses. Once he figures this thing out, his athleticism was on display in this game. Made some really good plays, really nice runs. I think one of them was actually called back due to a hands to the face penalty, but Paxton Lynch can operate under duress because he can move, because he's athletic, liked his leg usage early in this ball game, and I think that's something that he can take away from this game and say, hey, I can run with the players in this league. My athleticism translates. I can move around. I can escape. I can outrun guys to the edge and pick up yards with my legs. Pressure on Matt Ryan. Look, they didn't hit home a ton. They didn't sack him a bunch. But what they did was they made Matt Ryan uncomfortable in this football game. And they got a sack early in the game. Von Miller with a beautiful spin move, beating the left tackle Schrader to get in there and get a sack. But all in all, the pressure was enough so that Matt Ryan wasn't comfortable because Julio Jones was open a couple of times down the field. Matt Ryan wasn't comfortable enough to hit him. He's been hitting that deep ball all season long because he's been comfortable in the pocket. He wasn't comfortable, especially in the first half of this game. Julio Jones, like I said, he was open on that deep crosser that they love to run. 3 defenders around. Julio still open. Matt overshot him. Open down the sideline. Julio open down the sidelines. Matt overshot him, and that was because of the pressure. I thought the Broncos did a really good job of making Matt Ryan uncomfortable in the first half. Let's go to the dislikes in the first half. And the only dislike I have for the Falcons in the first half is the OPI on Julio Jones. Julio! Offensive pass interference killed one of those Falcon drives. They're driving the football. They're about to be in the red zone, about to go and get potentially another touchdown that would have really stung this Denver Broncos defense. Instead, that OPI on Julio turned that possession upside down, forced them into a long down and distance situation, ended up having to settle for a field goal. You go to the first half dislikes for the Broncos, it's the offense. They never got on track in this game offensively. They especially were stagnant in the first half of this game, and we're going to give the credit where that belongs. We're going to put that credit where it belongs a little bit later on in this breakdown, but the offense for the Broncos never got going in the first half of this game, and really for the majority of this game, they were stagnant. And I thought Paxton Lynch was uncomfortable. I thought he missed some throws, made some poor decisions, especially in the second half of this game. There were some opportunities there, some guys that you got to be able to hit, and some plays you got to be able to make. And he just, again, he wasn't ready. He's not ready for this type of stage yet. And it'll come over time. That's why they didn't want him to have to play in his rookie season. But he was thrusted into this spot, and he just wasn't ready. And I think everyone assumed that this Falcons defense could be had and that it would become a little bit easier in this game, and it didn't. The Falcons were game. They were ready. They came, and they elevated their level of play. I've got something to say about that a little bit later on, but they played ball. Everyone wanted to talk about the Falcons offense versus the Broncos defense in this game, and that was a great matchup. But what I think we undersold was this Falcons defense versus the Broncos offense and how big of an impact that would have on the outcome of this game. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. As we get back to the likes, we go to the second half and to the Atlanta Falcons. A punt down at the 1 yard line, beautiful punt by Bosher. It's down inside the 1 yard line. And that we talk about special teams, but we don't talk enough about how downing a punt inside the 5 yard line can impact a football game. You back a team up, they get uncomfortable. All it takes is a mistake there that can change the tenor of a ball game. And that's what happened here. You get them backed up on their 1 yard line. Broncos try to be ultra aggressive. Paxton Lynch takes a shot down the field into double coverage, overshoots his receiver, picked off by Ricardo Allen, which is the next like on my list. And when you make plays like that, when you down the football inside the 2 yard line at the 1, and you force a team to try to be aggressive, or sometimes lack thereof, you can get a safety, you can get an interception like they did here. It changes the ball game. That's a big interception. Wound up leading to some more Falcon points. Falcons running backs in this game that are next on my likes list. Man, were they dominant in this game. D-Free, running all over the place in this game. But the star of the game, the star of the show, was my main man, Tevin Coleman, man, TC. And I've talked about Tevin Coleman and how good this guy could be. The question for me always has been, can he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? If he could do that, he was going to be a problem because the speed was apparent coming out of Indiana. And now what I am blown away by, and I talked about this last night briefly on the Sunday Night Football breakdown, on Sunday Night Overtime. is that I didn't know he could catch this well. His route running ability, his ability to catch the football has been uncanny this season. We saw it, I think the first time I was really exposed to it, and maybe Falcons fans already had an inkling about this, but the first time I was really exposed to it was against the Saints a couple weeks back. They put up 45, 48 in that game. He was running all over the place, catching the football down the field, and I'm like, wow, Tevin Coleman can catch. I didn't know. And I saw him in this game, and he was truly the X factor on offense. They tried to single him up with a linebacker, and they just could not run with him. And Matt Ryan, every time he got open, put the football on him, gave him a chance to run in stride with the football. The first touchdown of the game over the middle of the field, gorgeous throw. He just simply outruns man-to-man coverage. They try to cover him with Davis at the linebacker position, and he just ran right by him on a seam ball, gets it right in stride, gets into the end zone, splits two defenders, dives into the end zone. There's a play up the sideline, almost like a little wheel route up the sideline. He beats the defender off the snap, gets down the sideline. Matt Ryan throws him a beautiful ball. Off to the races he goes down the field. Huge play for this Falcons football team. Tevin Coleman, to me, was the X factor in this game. His ability to win one-on-one matchups, catch the football, and get up the field. The early catch on the first possession, just a simple little dump down on a little crosser. Catches the football and then outruns virtually the entire Denver Broncos defense. He was stellar. Both backs were stellar in this game. The defense. Let's talk about this Falcons defense because not enough was made of how well they played in this game. All I heard was the Falcons offense this and the Broncos backup quarterback that. This defense made Paxton Lynch look bad. Paxton Lynch didn't look bad on his own. This defense played football. How many times did they get stops on 3rd and 2 and they get a stop and force 4th and 1? How many times did this defense get after Paxton Lynch and make him uncomfortable? Vic Beasley, I already told you, 3.5 sacks for Vic Beasley. What the hell? 2 forced fumbles. This defense was ferocious. You almost got a pick by Desmond Trufant. Almost got a pick by Alford in this game. Keanu Neal hitting folks. Camille Ishmael coming down and hitting guys looking like a linebacker. They were physical. They matched the physicality of the Broncos in this game. I was thoroughly impressed with this Falcons defense. Now, I'm not going to take it too far. But I'm telling you what. I don't know if this was one of those games where you knew coming in you had to step your game up and the opposition made you step your game up and raise your level of play. But the Falcons defense looked every bit as good as the Denver Broncos defense in this game. And again, I understand Paxton Lynch is at quarterback. We're really going to get a good feel for this defense next week. Seattle coming off a bye. Russell Wilson, totally different challenge than Paxton Lynch. Totally different environment. We're going to really get a good feel for this defense. But we're going to talk about the defense once more a little bit later on in this breakdown. The offensive line. We can sit here and talk about Matt Ryan. We can sit here and talk about the running backs. None of this stuff is possible if the offensive line doesn't do their job in this game. And yeah, they gave up some pressures. Yeah, Matt Ryan was a little uncomfortable in the pocket at times, but they didn't break. They didn't fold. They didn't give up 6 sacks in this game. They didn't let Matt Ryan get sacked and force a fumble. They didn't let this thing get out of control to the point where Matt Ryan makes a foolish mistake. The closest Matt Ryan came to being picked off was an Aqib Talib offering to Mohamed Sanu that he almost stepped in front of, and if he would have picked it off, he probably would have been gone for a pick 6. But for the most part, he had enough time to do what he needed to do. And they had enough time for him to survey the field and get to the running back on some of these plays, who might have been the third option. They had enough opportunities where they were able to open up some holes in the run game. They were able to convert on 4th and 1, 4th and goal from the 1. They were able to convert on 4th and inches and move the pile. This offensive line did human-like work in this game. Against the Broncos, you're going to give up some plays. They're that good. But they didn't give up a bunch. And credit must be given to this revamped offensive line. You go to the Broncos and their second half likes. TJ Ward with the takeaway. It was literally a takeaway. Like he literally took the football from Mohamed Sanu and said, hey, man, you don't need that. You don't know what to do with that. Let me get that, shorty. You don't know what to do with that. Let me get that. And he took the football from him. Like, give me that. Punked him. Took the football from him. They needed that at the time. They were struggling. Big takeaway for the Broncos defense. Let's get to the dislikes. We go to the second half. And again, not many dislikes on either side for either team, but the Mohamed Sanu fumble was the only dislike here. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu. Got to hold on to the football. Got to hold on to the ball. Can't let a dude punk you come up and take the ball from you. That's like somebody coming up to you and taking your lunch money. You don't allow it to happen. You fight for that. He just took it from you. Give me that. Can't happen. Denver Broncos, second half dislikes. Paxton Lynch throws the interception. He's in the end zone. He's backed up. Throws it deep. Took a shot, but again, it's an unnecessary one. Double coverage down the field. You're going to do that. You better give your receiver a chance. He didn't give his receiver a chance at all on that particular play. I already talked about the offense and the sluggishness of it, so I don't need to beat that horse. It's already dead. But to reiterate, they didn't have much more success in the second half of this game, and they only got points late in the ball game in garbage time when the Falcons pretty much had this thing on ice. We did get to a situation where an onside kick was in play. The Falcons able to recover that onside kick and pretty much put this game out of reach in terms of the time. But nonetheless, Paxton Lynch was not great in this game, and the interception was another play where you'd like to have that one back if you are Paxton Lynch. Banana in the tailpipe, I got one for each team. Great defensive effort by the Falcons, but I'm not sold yet, man. I know what I've seen from this team this year. I've watched this team give up 30 some odd points every week. This was impressive, but it was also a rookie quarterback. So while I wanna break my arm patting you guys on the back, I can't do it because I need to see it again. And if you can go out, and this is the toughest stretch of your schedule right here. If you can find a way to go, and you don't even necessarily look, there are no moral victories in this league. You either win or you lose. But if you go on the road and your defense, let's say Seattle's defense, because they're one of the best in the league, okay? Seattle's right up there with Denver, Minnesota, New England, Philly. Those are the top defenses in the league right now as it stands to me. You go into Seattle, let's say they shut down your offense, but this is a close ball game because your defense comes to play and you lose the game 19-13 in Seattle. That's respect. Respect is not given, it is earned. You want respect, go to Seattle and take some. Like I said, you may not even win this game. You got to split in this nasty stretch of your schedule. You've already won 2 games. I was saying, man, you could easily come back after the big win versus Carolina. You could come back home 3-3. You already won a game on the road. So you're playing with house money now. That being said, I need to see it from this defense one more time. I see it from this defense one more time. And if Matt Ryan doesn't go out and throw up all over himself, he's going to be rechristened Matty Ice next week. He gets his name back. He's Matty Ice. He's not Matty Ice yet. He's Matty Ice. Got to stop on the E because it's not there yet. But he's getting there. But I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that this defense is good all of a sudden. Show me again. Show me. Make me a believer. I'm from Missouri. Show me. And last but not least, the Broncos' banana in the tailpipe is the offensive sluggishness that we saw in this game. Look, Paxton Lynch was not good in this game. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't good. So I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that they're bad on offense. Trevor Siemian's supposed to play on Thursday night. Great. I expect him to be better offensively. He was starting to move it. He was starting to hit on all cylinders. Went up to Cincinnati, threw 4 touchdown passes. The guy was playing good football before the injury. So I expect them to return to some semblance of effectiveness offensively. So I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that the offense is all of a sudden bad because of this game with a rookie at the helm in Paxton Lynch. So with that being said, let's get to these comments, and I see a ton of them. So let's start reeling them off. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, Falcons record 8-8, 10-6, or 12-4. We found out a lot about the Falcons. The toughness is there. I wasn't sure. I thought they were soft on defense. The toughness is there. So now the question is, can I get this out of you more often than not? Because this team, the inconsistency on defense scares me. So what we're going to find out in the next coming weeks is, can we get this kind of consistency from the defense? Because now I know it's there. I wasn't sure if they had that mean streak in them, if they had the ability to go bust somebody in their damn mouth. I didn't know if they had that in them. Now I do. So now I'm looking for that now. When you show me something, I've been exposed to it now. Now I know it exists. Now I want to see it. So now I'm looking at this Falcons team. Why they can't go 11-5, 12-4? It's possible. Now that I know the defense is capable of holding the team to 16 points and busting cats in their mouth, now I know that they can go out and win some games when the offense isn't scoring 37. They can hold somebody to 16 and still win the game 20-16. That's something that they're capable of now. I didn't know that before. I know that now. Abraham Lopez says, Atlanta put in Ben Garland to play on the D-line, and he added pressure. The Falcons did a lot of good things. I thought I saw a lot of Ishmael at linebacker. And he was coming. He's physical. I told you, I like Ishmael down in the box. And they look like they had him playing that hybrid linebacker, safety kind of spot. And he was coming down and he was hitting folks, man. And so they did a lot of good things on defense. Eric Jones says, my Falcons are for reals this year. Rise up. Hashtag rise up. They looking like it, man. More and more. I'm like that teenage girl or that woman who's been hurt in a relationship, man. I've been burnt by this Falcons team so many times. I'm scared. Just don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. That's why I can't stick my feet all the way. I keep sticking a toe in the Falcons water, man. And it's a little cool. It's not cold. I could actually jump in right now. But I'm scared, man. I've been hurt, man. I've been hurt one too many times. So I got to see more before I can commit. I got commit issues, man. I got issues over here, man, with this Falcons football team. So I got to see more. I got commitment issues. Drift Rifter says, Stone Cold Dan Quinn making those ballsy fourth down calls. I love it, man. Scared money don't make money. In a division with Riverboat Ron, it's time for somebody to step up and say, man, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. And Dan Quinn is stepping up, rolling the dice. Ice water in the veins. It's coming up nice. Ray Corker says, what do you think of Keanu Neal and Desmond Trufant? Desmond Trufant, certified beast. Okay? He's earned it out there. Keanu Neal has to earn it. His second game back from injury, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because he didn't play. I don't think he played against the Saints. He may have played against the Saints. I know he played against the Panthers for sure. Either way, he's got a long way to go, but he's physical. I see that. And I knew that coming out of Florida. Okay? I see the physicality. He's nasty. He brings an aggression that they were looking for. This defense needed backbone. They needed tough guys. Dudes that's going to hit you. Too finesse out there. I don't see that anymore. At least I didn't see it in this game. And I think he brings that attitude that they were looking for. Again, he's supposed to be the Cam Chancellor of this defense, and he looks every bit of the part right now in terms of his ferocity and his viciousness when he's out there tracking guys with the football. Drift Rifter says, how about Kamal Ishmael stepping in at linebacker? Did a heck of a job. I just mentioned that. Kamal Ishmael looked good, man. And I love, he's one of those dudes, no nonsense, man, will hit you in your mouth. Don't talk about his mama. You in trouble. I mean, he's like the water boy. 56. There you are, throwing the ball so he can drop kick him. He's a physical dude. I love me some Kamal Ishmael. DG Production says, how do you feel about Julio only getting 2 catches? They won, right? That's how I feel. Long as they win it, who gives a damn? Julio was open a couple times. Matt missed him. It happens. Not going to hit him all the time, but they won. The only time you get upset about Julio Jones having 2 catches is if you lose. You win and Tevin Coleman balls, there's nothing to complain about. Brian Ma says, Broncos can't run the ball ever since they had to reshuffle their O-line a few weeks ago. Yeah, the run game has been pathetic. Every week I look up and I'm seeing C.J. Anderson with 12 carries for 41 yards, 14 carries for 35 yards. They're struggling, man. They are. And I thought, for silly me, coming out the gate against Carolina week 1, I thought he ran the ball really well. And I thought, maybe the Broncos will be able to run the ball this year. Just maybe. I was wrong. They can't run the football again. They're struggling again. I think Booker will give you something. I saw some good things from him in this game. But that being said, it comes down to those 5 guys up front. And it's just it's musical chairs. They're shuffling all kinds of stuff. They're shuffling their papers right now on the offensive line. And it's affecting the running game. Eagle Speed is a nerd, says Devontae Freeman or Tevin Coleman. Both. You don't have to pick one. That's the beauty of this thing. Both of these guys are killing it right now. One is, to me, a better pass catcher than the other. And D. Free isn't a bad pass catcher, but down the field, Coleman has showed explosiveness catching the football. And to me, one's a better runner, and that's Devontae Freeman. But Coleman's not a bad runner either, and he's showing you that. You got a nasty 1-2 punch. Don't have to pick one. Go with the hot hand, but make sure that both of these guys are getting the adequate touches that they need, and you'll be just fine. Both of these guys are doing it well, and I love it, man. Next comment. Abraham Lopez says, how about that Falcons secondary? Lynch held to too long because no one was open. Yeah, look, we never questioned the Falcons secondary. The question was, can you get pressure? Can you get pressure? That pressure from Vic Beasley was immediate, okay? Those are some immediate pressures off the edge. He was beating those boys on that right side of the offensive line, Schofield and Sombrero, like they stole something. I mean, it was quick. It was decisive. Get your hands off me, man. Don't touch me. And it was go after the football. I don't give a damn how hard you hit a quarterback. I want the ball, man. I want the ball. And not only was Vic getting there, he was getting the cookies, man. He was reaching in the cookie jar. He was getting cookies, man. Too bad they couldn't recover any of them, but I always want the cookies. I never want the jar. I just want the cookies. Damn the jar. The quarterback's the jar. I want the cookies that's inside the jar. He went after the cookies, man. I love it. Love it. Aiden Wynn says, what do you think about the Falcons O-line? Talked about them already. They were a strength in this game. Talked about them on my likes list in the second half. They were tremendous, man. And they gave up a couple pressures. You're going to give up a couple pressures versus that Broncos vaunted rush. With Ray and Von Miller and all the guys that they can throw at you in waves, Shaq Barrett, you're going to give up some pressures. The key is don't give up a ton of them and don't give them up where they end up forcing turnovers. And they didn't allow Matt Ryan to be under siege to the point where he was missing guys open down the field. It didn't affect him to the point where he was under duress, trying to force it to get rid of it and throws a pick. It wasn't to the point where they were allowed to get their hands and deflect footballs and get something picked off. They were good enough in this game. They opened up some holes in the run game. Thought the offensive line did a really good job. Eagles Speed is a nerd, says, if Von Miller had 3 sacks in this game, would they have won? Depending on how and when those sacks came. Does he force a fumble? Does it come on a third down where Tevin Coleman catches the football up the seam for a touchdown? You know, when do these sacks take place? Does it knock him out of field goal range for Matt Bryant? Depends. He could have got 3 sacks that on possessions where they ended up punting anyway. And you say they really didn't have that huge of an impact because the Falcons still got their same 23 points. So it just depends on how and when and how those sacks were impactful throughout the course of the game. DG Production says, how do you think the Falcons will do against the Seahawks after this performance? I'm intrigued now. I got to go back to the board and rethink and reassess this Falcons team because they got a shot now. 2 weeks ago, I would have told you no way they're going into Seattle and winning. They got a shot now because they play defense. I think. I'm not sure. I can't confirm nor deny that. If they play this level of defense, they can go in there and beat Seattle. So now I like their chances now. Am I going to pick them? I don't know about that. Seattle's coming off a bye week. Russell Wilson playing some outstanding football. That's a totally different challenge than a rookie quarterback. Now you're playing a veteran who can get it done at the highest of high levels in this league. Totally different challenge. But that offensive line is not great in front of them. So if they can get the same type of pressure, and that's what I'm not sure about. Was this a mirage or is this for real? What I'm seeing, is this real? Is Vic Beasley going to start doing this? On the other side, Is Dwight Freeney going to start getting pressure like he did in this game? Is this for real? Or is this a mirage? Was this more a product of the Denver Broncos offensive line than this Falcons D-line starting to get busy? I don't know. We're going to find out. Brian Ma says, Gary Kubiak won't be coaching in the Thursday night game this week. How do you feel about their chances? Yeah, they said that he's got some kind of condition and everything checked out well, but he's been running fevers and things of that nature. Still like their chances. I mean, you got an ex-head coach on the sidelines and Wade Phillips. I mean, worst case scenario, you got guys that should be able to step in and you shouldn't miss a beat. They should be fine. The key is, if the defense plays the way that they're supposed to play, Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers will turn the football over. That's what they've done all season long. Don't see why the Broncos won't be able to force some turnovers, force some errors, and win that football game without Kubiak being on the sideline. Aiden Wynn says, which player stood out to you the most in the game? Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman was an absolute stud in this game. And again, his receiving prowess was under the radar. If you didn't know about him as a pass catcher before this game, you know now. If you were asleep, you're woke. Wake up. Hey, you, wake up. Tevin Coleman can catch the football out of the backfield. He's dynamic. So to me, Tevin Coleman was the guy that stood out for me in this ball game. Miguel Franco says, Shanahan needs a shout out for these last weeks. Many of our fans were doubting him, including me. I'm happy I've been wrong. I love Kyle Shanahan, and I'm a Redskins fan, so I had Kyle in D.C. Love Kyle Shanahan. You'll never hear me speak one bad word about Kyle Shanahan because the dude is an offensive genius. I told fans the same thing happened in D.C. when he was in D.C. as our offensive coordinator. Everybody said, oh, he's only here because of his dad, nepotism, this, that, and the third. I'm like, are you serious? This dude did it in Houston without his dad. Okay, he took Matt Schaub and made him a 4,000-yard passer every year. They ran a football with Arian Foster and went up top to Andre Johnson, the one and only DRE. Are you serious? The dude had offensive genes passed down from his pops. The man can coach it up. He can scheme it up offensively. So I'm never going to speak any bad words, no ill will for Kyle Shanahan. Only respect over here, man. Kyle Shanahan is a beast. And you don't have to give it to him. He'll take it. He'll take the respect from you. And I'm glad you guys are starting to realize that. And it sucks that it takes winning for you to see that, because even if you weren't winning, Kyle Shanahan isn't the problem. He's not. Kyle Shanahan is the man. Abraham Lopez says, love your show, my man. Hope the Skins do good. Lates. I don't know what that is at the end, but I appreciate that, Abraham, man. Good looking out, man, Lope. And Chris News says, will the Falcons beat the Chargers? Don't know where that game is. I'm assuming it's in Atlanta. They already played Oakland in Oakland, and they already played Denver in Denver, so that will be a home game for them. Yeah, they're going to beat the Chargers. As long as everybody stays relatively healthy, they don't have any catastrophes in terms of injuries before that game takes place, they'll be able to take care of business. And so that's going to do it for this live feed. I already talked about Phillip Nguyen. I've already talked about Keanu Neal already in the live feed. You're going to have to hit the playback for that. Kyle Shanahan, better than Adam Gase, says first name, last name. I would agree with that, even though I love Adam Gase's ability to get quarterbacks to play well. Hasn't been able to do that for Ryan Tannehill. Some of that has to do with the offensive line in front of him. In any event, I take Kyle Shanahan over Adam Gase any day of the week. So that's going to do it for this breakdown. I thank every single one of you for not only watching, but participating and asking questions. Love your participation. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room on lockdown coverage. Falcons, huge road win, go to 4-1 on the season. And now they're going to watch two teams in the NFC South beat the hell out of each other and really just sit back and laugh as they have a commanding lead in this division at 4-1. Everyone else sub 500 in the division. Falcons are rolling right now. Huge win. Got another big test. Can't pat themselves on the back. Another huge road test next week against a Seattle Seahawks team coming off of a bye. That should be a great football game. Meanwhile, Denver Broncos, tough loss. You had a rookie quarterback. You don't have time to sulk nor dwell on this. Quick turnaround, Thursday Night Football, San Diego Chargers, got to get that one. Chargers are struggling. You need to help them continue to struggle on the season. You're getting Trevor Siemian back, which is great news. That should help you get the W on Thursday. We'll see if you're able to do that. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I will see you a little bit later on. I got Raiders at home taking on the San Diego Superchargers coming up a little bit later on. I'll see you then. Have a good one.